The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Welcome into the latest extremely hot edition of Crossed Flags. We are hotter than hell, Michigan. And maybe actual hell, I don't know. But man, it is toasty outside.
As I heard Dave Moody say one time on the air at Texas Motor Speedway, it's hotter than hell's doorknob.
That's a good way to put it right there. It is a toasty one. It's the hottest day of the season here in our home area in the state of Alabama. I hope wherever you are staying as cool as possible. And we really only have one subject material here for this particular episode. I will say this, we are looking at a fairly loaded big show coming up this weekend. Matt alerted me to a situation where we now know where, you remember the Superstar Racing Experience, the SRX series? Remember those cars?
Oh, yeah.
We know what happened to them. We'll talk about that coming up on Saturday. Indycar has actually taken the wraps off of their brand new chassis for 2028. So we'll talk about that. Show it to you? That's a different story. Details will have to be worked out on that. And there is all kinds of other news going on as well. Some silly season news coming out of Front Row Motorsports, specifically related to their truck series and more. So, yeah, it's going to be a loaded big show. Make sure that you join us coming up on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time, and all the right and same places that you would expect, which we'll detail a little bit later on. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe down below. We thank you very much for doing so. And if you already have, please tell friends, neighbors, friends, neighbors, pick it because we need and love all the support that we can get to be able to keep this thing moving along. After all, we did win an award, and we like to be able to back that up. All right, so let's talk about the one big story that happened over this past weekend. And you know, pre-race shows are pre-race shows, and we've come to the point where we enjoy them, specifically when you're talking about Amazon and TNT, because they seem to give them a little bit more time than the Fox Sports 1, or NBC/USA does.
Right.
You know, that's a critique for another time. We'll worry about that later. What specifically we're dealing with is on the TNT pre-race show for Indianapolis, Jimmy Johnson was a part of it. He wasn't racing. He was just there and being a two-time winner of the Brickyard 400 and having run the Indy 500 a couple of times. He was giving some perspective on the track and all that. And then here comes his old boss, Rick Hendrick. And he announced something that kind of came out of left field if you didn't realize that this was kind of being something that was in the works. And what Jimmy Johnson is going to be able to do is going to run one more race. Is going to run the 2027 Daytona 500. That will be his final race, he has said. He will not race again in the Cup Series. He will hang up his helmet forever, and he will concentrate on being the primary owner of Legacy Motor Club. So why was Rick Hendrick there? Rick Hendrick said that with the approval of NASCAR and the approval of Ally Bank, they're going to let Jimmy Johnson use the number 48 for his final race. Now, there's logistics, obviously, when it comes to this, because we're talking about a point situation that you have to deal with and all that. But let's just look at it from the surface level here. Jimmy Johnson gets to bookend his career running the number 48. Pretty cool. And a very, very cool move on Hendrick Motorsports' part, and truth be told, Ally Banks.
Well, he did say that he had, mentioned to Rick, I think months ago, about, it'd be really cool if I could run the 48 one final time, because he originally was going to be set to drive of all car numbers, car number 13, which I thought was really weird.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I think it's an absolutely symbolic gesture of Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, and then everybody at Hendrick Motorsports to do that.
Sure.
But it is going to be awfully weird seeing a 48 on a Toyota.
Agreed. And I've seen a lot of people do this, and truth be told, it'd be very, very cool if they would just sign a one race deal to do it, and that is get Lowe's to come back for one more race and put that logo on the number 48 car for him one more time at Daytona.
Yeah. That would be, but
as to whether or not that'll happen, I'm not sure, because I'm sure Carvana, which has been a long-time sponsor of his ever since he switched from NASCAR over to IndyCar, Carvana's really been right there beside Jimmy Johnson. So I would imagine they want a big part of this last race.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but I would suspect Toyota is going to be coming out loaded for bear with his car specifically.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
For this last race.
You want to talk about one major storyline, give him a car that could actually be a winner a legitimate winner, not just luck into it. I mean, I could luck into a win at the Daytona 500. I'm talking about giving him a car that legitimately runs up front all day long to get everybody excited about it.
Yeah. And if it's not the neon yellow, Dago yellow 48 that's on that car, you're doing it an injustice.
Got to have the font, got to have the look, got to have everything going for you on this one time. And I think that'll happen that way. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
I don't see why not.
And again, this is a rubber stamp by NASCAR, but here comes the question. 48 is a full-time car, and as we talked about on the big show last weekend, it belongs to one Alex Bowman, who's going to run it for one more year before he hangs it up full-time. I guess he'll race kind of occasionally like Jimmy Johnson's been doing. What the heck happens to the points situation at that point? How does that bit of logistics work out?
It will involve some type of a temporary transfer, because even though the last 3 instances there's been car number change, 4 instances actually, there's been car number changes. It was in non-points events. Kevin Harvick pulling the 29 to run at Wilkesboro that final time.
The All-Star race, yeah.
And you got
we got the chorus joining in, yeah.
Yeah, chorus joining. Then you've got Kyle Busch the year in the All-Star race in Charlotte, where he drove the 75 for the 75th anniversary of M&M's.
Right.
Then the few years before that, you had Martin drove actually the 25.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy Johnson actually drove 5 on the Lowe's car at the All-Star race.
True. But like you said, all of these were non-points. Yes. They were cash grabs. They were the All-Star race or Busch class or something like that.
Correct.
So
I'll be interested to see how that transfer goes.
Yeah, I'm waiting for details on that, and maybe we'll get those by the weekend. I'm not going to sit here and hold my breath waiting on that, but we'll see. But it'll be really, really interesting. It'll be a lot of fun, truth be told. And again, we've seen these Toyotas. These Toyotas have been, let's face it, really, really good. But if you want a great equalizer, you go to Talladega, you go to Daytona. Those are the great equalizer tracks here. So, we can give Jimmy Johnson a 1 in. I'll throw in the fact that we may have an extra car come in. So we can easily give him a 1 in 41 chance. Or a 1 in 40 chance, depending on how many entries there are. But while that's the number, realistically, based upon what we've seen out of Jimmy Johnson, and remember, this is a 7-time champion who's won more than 80 races in his career. But based upon what we've seen since he's become this part-time driver and come back from IndyCar, I haven't really seen it from him.
He really hasn't had the equipment that he used to have. Now, I guarantee you, if he was in a Hendrick car, different story.
Sure.
Or a Hendrick prepared car, much different story.
Right.
So I would be willing to bet that behind closed doors, being with Toyota, I would be willing to bet that this will be a JGR prepared car.
Oh, yeah. All hands on deck.
Or a 2311 car.
Yeah. All hands on deck for, TRD going, hey, let's all jump in there and let's give this guy the best ride that he's had since he's come back.
Yep.
Okay.
I could see that happening.
All right. Plus, being the drafting track that it is, I could easily see, obviously, his Legacy Motor Club teammates in the 42 and the 43 trying to do everything that they can to work with him to get him up to the front.
And it'll be the 84 next year as well.
yeah, could at this point in time we potentially see, let's say that they get separated or something happens to the 42 and or the 43, and for that matter, we'll throw out the 84. Could we see 2311 and or Joe Gibbs Racing starting to go, hey, let's go ahead and pick up the slack that the other guys have dropped?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Like we said, Toyota, all hands on deck, trying to help out Jimmy Johnson as much as they can to make the storyline is the best that they can possibly make it.
Right.
And of course, I'll be real blunt with you when I state this. Should Jimmy Johnson actually park that car in victory lane, you know for a fact all the conspiracy nuts are going to come crawling out of the woodwork saying, oh yeah, NASCAR set it up to make sure that he could win in his final race.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not happening that way, folks. You're not getting 40 drivers, 39 or 40 other drivers on the track with a chance to win a Daytona 500. God only knows if they'll have another chance to win a Daytona 500. You think they're going to give it to Jimmy Johnson? You're out your mind.
No. Because there's I would say it's a better than 50% chance that it would likely be Denny Hamlin's final 500 as well.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Unless he has a change of heart. You know, he said he's got a 2-year contract, which he's in year 1 of, and he has zero intention of going again. So yeah, and I'll put you and me, and I'll put producer John, who's behind the scenes here, all 3 of us in the race as well. You know, how many opportunities do you get to run in a Daytona 500? You know, there are drivers who have been able to do it for 20 years, and there are drivers who get 1, 2, maybe 3 chances at it during a lifetime. We don't know if we're ever going to get that chance. So if I'm sitting out in the lead as the white flag hits and I look in my mirror and I see Jimmy Johnson back there, I don't even think that for a fleeting moment I'm thinking, you know what, I ought to move out of Jimmy's way so he can get the win on his last race. I'm the one in the lead. I want a Daytona 500 just as much as he does, maybe more because he won it before.
There's a saying that I was told one time, and this is how it was defined to me when I started my career.
Okay.
All right. In war, a white flag means surrender. In racing, a white flag means war.
Yes.
You have no friends on the last lap.
That is true.
If I'm in the field and us 3 are all teammates, if I'm the better pusher than the puller, and one or the other or both are in front of you, I'm going to be screaming at the top of my lungs, jump out of line and let's go and let's stay connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if we're coming down to the white flag, you have no friends.
Yeah, everything is out the window.
It's everyone for themselves.
Yeah, everything is out the window right up until the point when maybe coming off a turn 4, you realize you don't have enough momentum to be able to pass the person in front of you or the 2 people that are in front of you. So you got to pick which one you're going to choose to push that gives you the best chance to finish second.
Yep.
You know, and if it just so happens to be that, you know, like you said, if you happen to be the good pusher, you see Jimmy Johnson on the low side, you see me on the high side, I happen to be your teammate. One would think you would choose me if you realize you can't win.
If we're coming off a 4, yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't,
like I said, if you realize that you cannot win.
Yeah, if I don't have the run to be able to stick it 3 wide and go 3 wide to the line, yeah, I'm gonna jump behind your car versus Jimmy Johnson's car because we'll be bringing the trophy back to our shop versus it going to another shop.
Sure, but if you come off a turn 4 and you got a head of steam, and you look at me and you realize there's a lane, I'd be surprised if you tried to push me because you got a lane.
It would be full send.
That's right. Go for it. See what you can do. I understand it. I think it's a very cool story. I look forward to hearing the details about how the whole points situation is going to work out when it gets transferred back to Alex Bowman. Because again, Alex Bowman's going to be in his final year as a full-time racer. We got to find out what number Alex Bowman's going to be driving. Seems logical it would be the 25, but then again, we've been surprised before.
There is another number that Hendrick used to have the rights to that hasn't been ran in a very long time.
I'll pull that one out.
That I forgot about.
Go for it.
So if it's either 25 or 57, I'll be surprised.
Ooh, 57.
Or even 88.
Yeah. I'm not so certain the 88's coming back in that way.
I'm not either. I'm leaning more towards 25.
Yeah. Although I got to admit, for a one-time deal, the sponsorship opportunity that 57 would open up.
True.
Make a few phone calls to that condiment company up there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
There's possibilities.
Considering the last one to drive it was Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah. Right. It's the marketing situation, or it's the marketing mind that goes to work at that point in time. But that's up to Hendrick Motorsports and Rick and Jeff Gordon and all those people up there as to exactly what they're going to do. I expect an announcement will be made here momentarily as far as that's concerned. And of course, a lot of talk about who's going to take over that 48 car whenever Alex Bowman does step out at the end of the 2027 season, who's going to be full-time 2028. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more coming up on the big show coming up this Saturday. Am I going to be solo on the big show come Saturday morning?
I will be there in some capacity for some time.
Okay.
May not be the whole time, but it'll be sometime.
Matt has a pressing issue, so we'll make the best of it. Producer John's going to be up in Virginia. We do know that. So John Bird will be on the flagship radio station. Matt will be part-time. I'll be there for the whole show. I'm going to tell you this right now. For those of you that are watching this on CRN Live on YouTube or on Real Talk 99.5 TV, I would expect, just because it's not going to be feasible for me to do a whole heck of a lot else by myself.
For the logistics of it, yeah.
For the logistics of it, we're just going to be on Real Talk 99.5 TV. Okay? Sorry to break that news to you, but we'll make it happen. We'll put a short video up. Either Matt or I will come Saturday morning to remind you of that. But once again, we're going to be only on Real Talk 99.5 TV on YouTube this Saturday morning, again, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Hope you join us then for it. Our thanks to producer John. We wish him very, very safe travels back up to the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Safe travels up, safe travels back. He'll be back, we hope, next week in time for us to do this particular podcast again. We also want to thank producer Molly for making sure that we're on everything that we need to be. Don't forget where we are. Jocks 94.5 TV on YouTube. Real Talk 99.5 TV on YouTube. Of course, CRN Live on YouTube. Also on Spotify. Feel free, go to Spotify, take us there, listen to us as you're going down the road, even if it's just going to and from work, or maybe you're on a road trip down to the beach for one final time before the kids go back to school. You got us right there on Spotify. Thank you very much for joining us, Matt. We'll see you on Saturday morning.
Whether it be by phone or in person, I'll be there in some capacity.
Sounds good. Producer John, be careful, brother, and we'll talk to you next week, and we will see you Saturday morning for CRN. Thank you very much for joining us here on this edition of Cross.
The Championship Racing Network.